Seventh time this season, Rockets have had a win by 20-plus points as they win this one going away. Rockets were down at halftime, 52-51, but certainly a big change in the second half when the Rockets shot 61% into the night with 78 points in the paint. Alperen Sengun, a big part of that's brought to you by Chick-fil-A Houston, 28 points and 10 rebounds. Just goes out, picks up these kind of numbers each and every night, Murph.
Well, do you notice I stopped teasing him about his 2-inch vertical? Have you noticed that?
Well, yeah.
He doesn't need any kind of vertical with his footwork.
The great footwork, and not to mention the strength. You saw it right there. He just backs the guy down underneath the basket.
Yeah, well, we talked about the fact that he worked on his strength in the weight room over the summer and came back an inch taller and a little bit stronger.
Yep. The double-double tonight with 28 and 10 for Alperen Sengun. Key player profile and Kevin Durant, and just another night. It's just you can pencil him in. It seems like night in and night out for the kind of numbers he was able to put together here in this one tonight as he goes for 24 points. Did it on 9 of 16 shooting. Again, nobody really had to shoot the ball from big distance. He only took 4 threes, made one of them, but the Rockets, like I said, only made 1 3-pointer in the second half. That's what he did in 32 minutes tonight, man.
Well, do you notice about his game? He's not trying with his great offensive ability. Any given night, he can be the leading scorer, but he's not trying to be the leading scorer on the Rockets. He's just trying to win some games. He's taking the shots the defense gives him. He's not forcing anything. He goes a lot inside to set up the outside. And of course, Alfie is just doing a magnificent job in the paint.
Yeah, plus, as you saw, plus 24. That was the best of any Rocket tonight in this one as they overcome a deficit at halftime to win in blowout fashion tonight, 121-95 as they win this one tonight by 26. Everybody got into the act in this one in the second half as the Rockets pulled away in a big way. Nice way to start a stretch of 3 out of 4 here at home as the Rockets pick up their 14th win of the season. Rockets now 14-5 as far as winning percentages. Only Oklahoma City and the Lakers with a better winning percentage than the Rockets in the early going of the NBA season as the Rockets come away with the win tonight, 121-95. 24 points tonight from Kevin Durant. Let's hear from him.
Kevin, what do you think was the key in that third quarter for you guys to kind of pull away?
We moved the basketball better. We made them shoot over a hand, and we got out and ran. I think we got a lot of easy buckets in transition, and but that starts from just keeping it simple on offense, kicking the ball ahead, defensively, make sure we stand in front of our guys, and not being late on rotations. And that third quarter, we had a nice stretch of that.
Another game where Steven Adams' two-way game was just deadly, especially in that third quarter. How important was his physicality to turning this game around? Yeah,
I mean, he's a big force, a body in the paint to have, and he's almost like his own source of offense because he can, get the offensive rebound so easily and put back or kick out for a three. So we missed him last game, and he kind of adds another dimension to our team with just his screen setting ability, his finishing, his rebounding. So in 18 minutes to get 11 and 8, 5 offensive rebounds, 2 blocks, that's setting your tone right there.
Katie, you mentioned the points in transition. They really didn't have a ton of turnovers. Does it take an intentional effort to score in transition when you're not basically turning the other team over? Yeah,
because a lot of those shots, nowadays in the league, a lot of teams are shooting deep threes, long threes, and if we can get our hands on those rebounds and push, this is a jump shooting league, so there's a lot of long rebounds that can lead to fast break opportunities. So we try to finish, play quicker, even if it's not a turnover. We still want to get the ball up the floor and try to get easy baskets. So 30 fast break points, that's the name of the game.
Josh was plus 23 tonight, and he took just 3 shots. Do you think he's kind of one of the more underrated or valuable kind of role players and 3 and D, so to speak, guys in the league right now?
Yeah. I think Josh is a consummate pro who's hangs his hat on guarding and making plays on offensive rebounding, getting his hands on basketballs with deflections, and then knocking down his jump shot. I think his jump shot is even better when he starts the game off getting a deflection or getting a steal or running in and grab an offensive rebound, so he feeds off of the, doing the dirty work, and he's a blue collar player. So we're grateful to have him because he can you can insert him into the starting lineup or bring him off the bench, and he's the same player. So, this is my third year playing with Josh, and he's gotten better and better.
Katie, I think you only attempted 4 threes the entire second half, and Jeff was the only one who made one. It's kind of the opposite of how most teams play these days. Why did y'all play like that? And do you like when a game comes down like that?
I mean, we don't necessarily, I don't think we're even thinking about the 3-pointers we get up. I think we're a defensive team who likes to play through our bigs in the post, sometimes play off of pick and rolls, and we don't spam threes, but if they're there, we're gonna take them. And tonight they just weren't there. I think the paint was open, so we just we rather get those efficient paint shots than anything. We were in the paint, 80 points in the paint, so I know it's a 3-point shooting league, but if you seeing your paint open up that easily and you get layups, then why chuck threes?
Yeah, how important is Amen in those moments when you kind of just need a jolt of energy, or you just want to change the tenor of the game, when he can kind of use his energy to kind of give y'all a spark?
Yeah, I mean, when he can get off the glass and push and make those spectacular plays over the rim, especially at home, the crowd feeds off of it, we feed off of it, and that's a huge responsibility, to be the energy provider and to always be on point. And Twin is working through it. We all working through it, and it's a long season, and we're not expecting him to be the main guy to provide energy for us. I think we all have to do it. But those plays when he can, push the transition, grab a rebound, and finish, catch a lob, block a shot, I think those things, add to our group, and everybody who's watching the game at that time feeds off of it.
Kev, I think you're like 4 points away from becoming the 8th player to rack up 31,000.
Damn, I could have did that tonight.
You could have. Do those milestones still move you? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, they do. Hell yeah. I mean, 8 players in the history of the game, that's insane. I mean, I'm always grateful for all my coaches, teammates, guys that set screens for me, that give up their shot to look for me, that encourage me throughout my whole career. I had a few teammates, playing with Russ. He meant a lot in my career when it comes to that. Steven meant a lot in my career. Jeff Green, so every time I, hit these milestones, I tend to think about my teammates and the journey that I've been through. And even as a kid, so many people have invested in my life and my career and wanted to see me do well. So I owe a lot to them. And I always think about that when I hit milestones like this.
Kevin, you talked earlier about almost 80 points in the paint. Is that kind of different for a team that, like in a 3-point shooting league, and you all being able to score that effectively in the paint? And was some of the emphasis on taking those type of shots, not playing bully ball as such, but taking those?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the threes also come from you touching the paint first. You know what I'm saying? Good defensive teams swarm you in the paint, make you kick out for threes. So if we touch the paint, I think, that should be our goal, is to touch the paint and see what happens after that. And I think we make good decisions when we do that. So sometimes it's going to result in 40 threes or 45 threes, or sometimes it might result to 80 points in the paint when we don't need to take those shots. So touching the paint is important, and you probably hear a lot of the 29 other teams talk about paint touches as well. So, that's just the source of good offense.
An efficient second half tonight for the Rockets. Kevin Durant, 121-95. Rockets win this one by 26 tonight. Now, the second half dominated by the Rockets as they outscore Sacramento 70-43. 62 of the Kings' 95 points came from their bench. In fact, your two starters each had 12 in DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook. The other three starters combined for just 9 points tonight for the Sacramento Kings. Rockets dominated in the paint, 5th most points, and they scored in the paint in franchise history with those 78. And they were plus 23 on the fast break points. And I'm glad we have a new statistical category, silly fouls. And that was 0 tonight.
Excellent. What was interesting about the defensive game tonight, the Rockets did a wonderful job on Zach LaVine. They never allowed him to get into the game. And in the past, he's hurt the Rockets.
So you came up with silly fouls. That was one of your keys.
Well, absolutely. You know why? Because the last game, we basically lost
fourth quarter.
That game, the fourth quarter, we had those 5 silly fouls in a row. If you remember correctly.
SF. Silly fouls. Per the HOFER. Hall of Famer. And speaking of, Calvin's Court's presented by Memorial Hermann Rockets Orthopedics and Murph. Rockets in the second half particularly, they just got down on the court and really kind of hustled a lot more in the second half than the first.
Yeah, well, Rocket fans, how many times have you seen an NBA player in today's game go to the wood? During the era of the Murph, we used to get a lot of floor burns. That just doesn't happen anymore. So to see Reed go down after a loose ball did my heart good.
There you go. It's also the final score did his heart good too. We got more to come here on the postgame presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors as the Rockets beat the Sacramento Kings tonight, 121-95. Huge third quarter from that big man right there. Steven Adams, the Rockets get the win.